Jim Jarmusch makes movies about events like a chance meeting or a visit from relatives, things that most of us don't really think about or might rather forget. But under his direction, they are memorable. His latest film, Night on Earth, takes us on 5 very different cab rides. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks a lot.
Not only 5 different cab rides, one in Los Angeles, one in New York, Paris, Rome, and Helsinki. What are we doing here?
Well, I wanted to make a film about a very kind of mundane situation of taking a cab ride, and it's kind of if you were to drop in on the planet from the stratosphere at any given moment into any given city, you would find this same experience, this same situation, people in taxis. So I wrote 5 little stories that happen actually simultaneously at nighttime, and they all take place there. Very little relationships that develop between the drivers and their passengers.
Yeah, and occurring simultaneously at the same time. And is there a connection between the events that are going on?
Only the situation. We start in L.A. in the evening when the sun is just setting, and we end in Helsinki in the morning when the sun is rising again. Yeah. But they all happen simultaneously.
How do you consider yourself different as a filmmaker? I mean, how is what you're about in your art different than people that you admire, like Scorsese, I assume,
yes,
Coppola,
certainly.
You know, Francis Ford Coppola, who?
John Cassavetes.
The late John Cassavetes.
Yes.
Yeah. How is it different? In fact, Gina Rowlands is in this.
Yes,
his wife.
Yes.
How is it different? Cassavetes was different from Coppola and Scorsese. Clearly, I mean, he had a very personal filmmaking style and a personal way of telling a story. Very very upfront, very direct, very emotional. Yeah.
Well, everyone is different. All these people are very different. I think for me, I am most interested in characters, and that's true with Scorsese and Cassavetes. But I start with characters, and I find stories that kind of weave around the characters as the essence of the film. So I even start with actors in my head that I would like to write a character for and then collaborate with them. So it's really opposite of kind of the normal way of creating a script and then going and looking for the elements to put into it. Instead, I start with the actors, the characters, and they're not really plot-oriented.
But I think that, didn't you intend to use 2 men in Los Angeles and then later decided to use Gina Rowlands because?
Well, I had written the first part in Los Angeles for 2 male characters, and one of them was John Turturro, the actor John Turturro, who we would like to work together. But he told me that he had a conflict, and it was very likely he wouldn't be able to do the film. And at the moment that that this conflict actually occurred and he couldn't do the film, somehow in that same week I met Gina Rowlands and Winona Ryder.
Right.
Really just by accident. I mean, I didn't go look for them. And when I met with them, we did discuss the possibility of working together. So I ran back and rewrote that story with them in my head, sent them the script, and to my surprise, they both agreed to do the film and wanted to do it. And it was a very lucky thing because the film needed that one more feminine element to it. I think it really is important for the film. So it was a good accident.
Take a look at this clip from Night on Earth. Here it is. Nice scene. Nice scene. Yeah. Nicholas Ray, big influence?
Yes, a big influence. I was actually an assistant to Nick Ray for a couple of years, up until his death. So he was a real big influence. Even before I met him, he was a big influence on me.
What did he teach you?
Well, he taught me many things. I think the most important thing he taught me was that there is no single method to work with actors. There is one way for each director to work with each actor, and to think that there's a method you can apply to all actors will not
There's no formula.
There is no formula. It's a collaboration and a matter of trust between the director and each individual actor, and you have to find the way to collaborate.
This is the first time you've used known actors, isn't it? I've been careful about that because somebody could say, of course I'm known, but these are better known ever before. Was it different for you with working with people like Winona who had a reputation and had a public perception?
No, it really wasn't. I'm not really affected by the fact that they're known. I was very nervous to meet Jenna because I'm a huge fan, but that evaporated after 5 minutes because she's so generous and warm. So
you wrote this in 8 days?
I did, yeah. I wrote it very fast.
Yeah. How'd you do it? I mean, did you sit down and it was a story you had to tell, so it just poured out of your pen?
Well, actually, I was frustrated. I had another script that I was planning to do and had some problems with the financing and other problems. I realized that was going to take me a while. So I had an idea several years ago for a short film with a blind girl and a cab driver. So I kind of pulled out those notes and I wrote that thinking about the two actors that now are in that Paris section of the film. Yeah. And then I wrote another one for Roberto Benigni in Italy, and then I wrote another, and after eight or 9 days I had 5 stories.
Yeah. What's next for you?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm writing 2 things right now, which is odd for me. It's kind of schizophrenic, but I'm a little superstitious about talking about them.
It's good to have you here, Jim Jarmusch. The film is opened around the...
it opens May 1st in New York and May 8th the rest of the country.
Night on Earth. Good to have you here.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Come
you.
back. We'll be right back. Stay with us.